Perfect. There we go. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Mental Health Monday here on Even Tacos Fall Apart. Super excited to have you. If you are here with us live, make sure that you are putting some things into the chat for us to answer. Our topic tonight is all about healthy relationships and Eastern medicine for recovery. So if you have any questions around that, feel free to put them into the chat and we'll make sure to answer them either Twitch or YouTube, wherever you want to put those in. But I'm super excited for our topic tonight. We have a great guest. This is Dr. Amanda Wilson, and she is a mad scientist wrapped in a Gen X sense of humor, which I'm super excited to have that come out. An orthodontist by trade, which we were chatting about a little bit ahead of time, but her real work is much bigger than teeth. She is the founder of Straight Smile Solutions, born out of pure frustration that dentists were not getting real education on airway health. She's built a library of 3,000 videos and lectured across Europe and Asia on things like palatal expansion and pediatric sleep disordered breathing. And she's also a part of the neurodivergent community, and that shapes everything from how she treats patients to how she shows up on a mic, on a show like this one. And she has helped scale a company through $1 billion NASDAQ IPO, lives in Honolulu, has raised 2 nationally ranked competitive swimmer kids, and her whole approach to life is figure it out, do it your own way. But today we are talking about healthy relationships and her own walk through Eastern medicine for recovery. Amanda, thank you so much for joining us today.
Aloha.
And I've got some links for you guys. If you would like to connect with Dr. Amanda, feel free to pop through. I've got website, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn. All of those are here, and feel free to get in there. Make sure you're liking a post. Make sure you're commenting on a post. Make sure you're reposting a post. All of those things are what helps. So make sure you do every single one of them at least once. That'll get her into your algorithm. But before we dive into the topic, I would love to know, how did you get into orthodontics? How did that become your specialty?
That's a great question. Well, I went to college just like everyone else. And, everyone in the 90s, everyone's trying to figure out what they're doing. And going to med school was the cool thing to do at the school I went to. But I like to be cool, but a little different. So in my mind, I was processing all of this. And I think pattern recognition, me being on the AUDHD spectrum, came early. And I started thinking, but do I really want to be a physician? Because I see these physicians, they have to go to med school and then they have to go to residency, but their residency has overnights. And I don't know if I really want to have that lifestyle. I really want to be a mom. So, this is before podcasts and the internet. It was just talking to a lot of people. And then I decided to get braces in college. This is before Invisalign. And I was like, this is kind of cool. I like this lifestyle. And it's really high energy. I don't know if you've ever been to an ortho, remember when your kids had braces or anything, like the offices are crazy, right? Like super high energy, fun, colors. It's spicy. So very taco-y. So I could totally see myself doing that. So I just went all in. It was probably one of the dumbest choices I've ever made, although it did work out. But in hindsight, I don't recommend anyone do what I did, because I didn't realize that not only did you have to get into dental school, but from then you had to be ranked top number 1 or number 2 in your class to get into orthodontic residency.
Oh, wow.
I did it, but I had zero interest. Like, I had to lie through my teeth at the interview for dental school because I had no interest in being a drill and fill cavity person. Like, that was not going to happen.
Yeah.
So, and yeah, it all worked out, but it was very risky. But yeah, basically orthodontics is tooth puzzles. And one of my superpowers is puzzles. I'm really good at doing anything that's puzzles, manipulation of things. So I just could see the vision better than most people. So that's why I think I'm pretty good at it.
Oh, that's really cool. I also obviously have never looked into dental school, but I didn't realize that you had to be in the top, 1 or 2 to get into being an orthodontist. Like, I look back on so I offered braces to my oldest and he was like, nah, I just got one tooth that's a little wonky. I'm not worried about it. And then my youngest has pretty straight teeth and his dentist hasn't recommended it yet. So I'm like,
great,
maybe I'll get off easy. My teeth were not straight at all.
Well, to be honest, there is a small genetic, part of that, but most of it is actually diet and how you raise your kids. And that is part of what I teach. So believe it or not, you probably just did a really good job feeding your kids, nursing your kids, growing your kids, and that's why your kids didn't need braces.
Interesting. Yeah. Well,
So,
I take it back. My teeth were actually very, very straight, but I'm missing two teeth,
mhm.
and they wanted to make room for those, and so that's what they were. They had to move everything. I think of
Ah,
my teeth being really crooked, but honestly, that part was like during the process of having braces is whenever they
hmm,
got really, really wild. So,
yeah,
uh, yeah. So I
exactly.
didn't realize that how you grow up affected how straight your teeth are. That's interesting.
Oh, yeah. Oh, since you mentioned you'd be okay with me referring some books, can I
Yeah,
give a couple books and a movie? Okay, cool.
100%.
If anyone wants to learn more about this, I have some books that aren't like for dentists. They're for, lay people, but they're about dentistry. So if you're interested in learning more, two books I'd like to recommend. One is called Jaws, Jaws, but it's when you search it on Amazon, don't look for the one that has a fish on it. Look for the one that has x-rays of a teeth on it. So you may have to scroll down till you see an x-ray, but that's the one. I think it's by Sandra Kahn. There's a couple
Okay.
authors. It's great. That one's a little bit more nerdy into the science of how teeth grow. The other one that's great if you want a little more casual one that's not written for dentists particularly is called Breathe or Breath. I know it's yellow and it's by James Nestor. And if you want to cheat, you can listen to the Joe Rogan podcast, which was an hour and a half. It was phenomenal. Like I would just listen to the podcast and not read the book. I did the podcast first and then I read the book. But and then if you want to nerd out even more, I have another great one. This is about mewing. Now you have teenage boys. Do they know what mewing
Yes.
is?
Yes, they
They do.
do.
You know what it is. Okay. Well, fun fact, mewing is based on my friends, John and Mike Mew. John, the late John Mew has passed away. He's incredible. Mike Mew, he just emailed me yesterday because we were talking about something. He's incredible. Yeah, that would be mewing. And I love the mews. And there's a movie called Open Wide. It is on Netflix, but it is buried right now. You have to have like the premium Netflix subscription. You can't have it if you have the one with ads, but just
Hmm.
FYI. Great,
Okay.
great movie. Like it will completely change the way your mind about everything about orthodontics if you do this stuff.
Okay. Well, I'm always down to learn some new things, so I will go check
Mhm.
those out for sure. It's gonna be a weird one. I'm used to watching a lot of like true crime things, so my oldest will be like, "Mom, did you see that there's a new documentary on a
No, but it
cult?"
is.
Is
They're
it?
actually no, this is like the true crime of the field of orthodontics. You're
I
gonna
love
get
it.
really sucked into, especially the movie. Watch the movie because
Okay.
the mews are incredible.
All
Yeah.
right. I'll have to pull
And your
him
son may
into
want
it
to watch
too.
it too.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Look, I
yeah. Just
sucker him
wait.
into watching all kinds of stuff with me, so he's not listening,
Hmm.
is he?
Yep.
Oh, that's
Yep. I
perfect.
got some of those too.
Yep. So, what's something that people are always surprised to learn about you?
Um, you mentioned that this question might come up, and then I really like got stuck on this one, so I wasn't sure if I should have something super shocking. I'm going to give you two things, and they're going to be really random. One is that I'm super flexible, like hypermobile, which is probably why my kids are good swimmers. I'll show you something I can do, but I mean, I could do it way better when I was a kid. Keep in mind,
Yeah.
I have some arthritis and I'm in my 50s, but I mean, like this. Put your elbows together. And by the way, my hands are completely turned around. Almost, I used to make them backwards, but so super
Wow.
hypermobile, like yoga stuff.
Yeah.
I think that goes with neurodivergence. I found out later. Definitely makes you a good swimmer. Also, I got my first tattoo yesterday, and it's giant. And I just
I
decided to
love
get it
it.
last minute,
Oh, that's
but it's in a place
awesome.
you'll never see.
Yeah.
So yes.
Do you want to share what it is, or is that just for you to know?
It's actually no. It's actually a medical tattoo. I had a scar and a birth deformity that I was born with, and it's in a private area, but it's always bothered me and I gotten teased as a kid, when you're changing. And I found someone that would do medical tattoos, but would incorporate that into the tattoo. So we've been planning it for months. He actually flies over to Hawaii. So we did most of it yesterday. It was brutal because I didn't realize it was going to extend up the back, all the
Yeah.
way, all hip, everything like right on bone. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so proud of people who do this. That was rough, but I
Yeah.
got to go get the rest done in 2 weeks. But I'm impressed I can actually sit. It didn't really hurt once after we were done,
Congrats.
so it was cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Now you'll get more tattoos because once you get one, you just keep having fun, I think.
Well, now I can wear a bikini without being worried about it, and I've never worn a bikini in my life, so I'm excited.
Yeah. Yeah. Listen, if it helps you be a little less self-conscious, that's awesome. That's
Yeah,
fantastic.
I'm in Hawaii. I live a couple blocks from the beach, so why
Get
not?
that bikini on. 100%. So you
Eh.
live in Hawaii, you have kids, they are super elite swimmers. I'm super curious and selfishly would love to know, how do you raise these elite nationally ranked athletic competitors with college scholarships without burning them out?
Okay, that's a great question. So, to be honest, that was never my husband and I are definitely not athletes by any way, shape, or form. And no one in my family is either. So this was very strange. Um, I think when we moved from Hawaii to California, back to Hawaii. Long story behind that. We might get into it. And I needed something for my kids to do. At the time, we didn't have a lot of funds, money, and a lot of the sports were youth sports were very expensive. But for some reason in Hawaii, swimming is the cheapest youth sport, which is bizarre. I mean, I guess because we use ocean and we use pools, and there's so many pools. It was so cheap. I was like, it came down to like, if you were in swim team 3 days a week, and this was beginning level, I did the math for a full year, and it was just a mile from our house. It was a great pool. It was like $2 a day. I mean, I did the math. I was like, well, why not? Like,
Yeah.
let's do this. So my kids were not great at ball sports, and a lot of us will have kids like that. We're like, well, try soccer, try this, try baseball, try foot, everything, and they just average. But they just didn't love it. It was like, do I really have to go? And then I thought,
Hmm.
when I was younger, I did like I was a theater, music, Girl Scouts girl. So, like any instrument, singing, whatever, music, theater, cool. I loved all that stuff, but that's not my kids. I tried. They were like, they were good at it. But once I got them in the pool and they started competing, the first time they competed, the coaches were like coaches would come up to me and go, yeah, your kid has something. Like, and when multiple coaches do that, and they're not trying to get money or get something out of you, they're just
Yeah.
like kind of shocked, and it's not their size. You're like, well, they see something I don't know. So I think I never had to force my kids. They did it. And then when they got older, they started doing 2 a days, 5 a.m. Never complained, never complained. They just,
Wow.
they saw it. They saw the vision. And, we did talk about college and, how it works and opportunities and stuff like that. And they just stuck with it. But full transparency, the older one had a almost full scholarship to a Power Four school, turned it down to go to MIT. There's no athletic or academic scholarships there, so pay to play. But
Yeah.
it's still MIT. You can't turn that down.
Yeah, that's really cool. And I'm glad that they didn't balk at going, okay, well, now we're going to get into competitions. Because that's one thing with my youngest. He's doing a little bit of competitions and everything in jujitsu. And I'm trying to make sure he enjoys it the whole time.
Oh
And
yeah,
I'm like, even
yeah.
even if you lose, you're there, we're gonna have a good time. And then afterwards I try and make sure like we're talking about the good time that you had, not the results of your match and everything. And
Oh yeah. The
he's at that
competitions are
age.
so fun.
Yeah, he's at that age where he can still see the fun. As your kids got older,
Yeah.
were they more focused on the competition or did they still like the fun?
No, swim meets are fun because you're
Yeah.
outside, people having barbecues, there's tents, there's music playing. They just don't want me to go. So they just go on their own. So actually my daughter's leaving in, well, she was supposed to, for everyone who's listening, she was supposed to leave this morning, which is probably why I'm filming this on my bed. But the flight from Hawaii got delayed due to Hurricane Fausto, and then got delayed again because of the winds. So they're out there getting ready to leave. And I was like, bye.
Yeah.
But no, they travel with the coaches and the chaperones and everything, and it's fine. They
Yeah.
have more fun not having us there.
I love that. That's how my oldest got whenever he was in scouts. He was like, I'm going on this trip and I don't want you to chaperone. I want to go with the troop.
Oh, did he make Eagle? Did he make
No,
Eagle?
no,
Did he
no.
finish it?
He quit.
Oh, I
He
got one
quit.
Eagle. Yeah.
Eighth grade, I think, is whenever he
That's okay.
stopped. But
Yeah.
it's fine. I mean, he had a good time and it ran its course, and it was all good. He did a lot of really fun things through it, so it was all good.
The last couple years were a little tough. So
Yes,
yeah,
yeah.
for my
And
husband to finish it, get the Eagle.
yep, I went for my silver and gold award, and it was a lot of work.
I got my
So
goal too.
see,
What? Yeah. I can say
it
the
was a lot
promise.
of
I
work.
led our other troop. I've been a leader for 12 years.
I
Yay!
love it.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Mhm.
That's great. So you built this
Cool.
career around fixing airways and fixing jaws, but today we're not talking about that for the most part. We're in totally different territory. So what made you want to come on and talk about healthy relationships and Eastern medicine for recovery today?
That's a great question. I think for me, I went to school like straight. And if you have any doctors or dentists that or even your own, you should definitely have an idea of what they went through, because what we go through to get there is rough.
Mm,
We have to be the top of our class from junior high to high school to college to dental school to even get there. And then you finish, if you go straight, if you specialize, at age 30. And that's if you go straight,
wow.
like straight. And then boom, you got to get married, you got to have kids. So everything's done in a fast, rapid succession, and it's planned out for you, and you never make your own decisions, you know? And then all of a sudden, for me, I don't even think I even realized this. You're 30, you boom, boom, have two kids, start your career, and all of a sudden you're going to go through perimenopause real fast.
Yeah.
I mean, it happens faster than you know. Nobody warned me. And this is why I'm out here with Gen Xing. And I think you're definitely younger than me, but I'm out here Gen Xing like, y'all, if you're in your 30s, you're in your 20s, you need to be ready for what's going to hit you, not
Yes.
at 55, 60. And for some reason, maybe because I watched Golden Girls as a kid when I was babysitting, and I thought those ladies were in their 60s and 70s. No, they were in their 40s. So
Yep.
when they're talking about what you're going to go through, just they looked bad. I don't think I look like, people on Golden Girls, but I'm older than them, It is rough what it does to your body. It is going to deplete you. And at the time when I first started going through it, no doctors would help you. They're like, oh, well, it's just what you do. Now they're starting to change their opinion, but I missed those 10 years of the window. So I started being loud and doing my research and saying, look, I'm feeling horrible. What is this? No. And I started dabbling into Eastern medicine, and I can read also a white paper. So, I mean, I'm a
Hmm.
dentist, I'm an orthodontist, but I can read medical literature. I mean, that's how we train. So I started reading the literature that was coming out of Asia, and the literature was coming out of Europe, and the literature was coming out of South America. And I'm like, wait a minute, why are our doctors so backwards? They're doing things not up to standard of care in some other countries. I always thought American medicine was the top. It's not necessarily. It's really behind, and it's really run by insurance driven models.
100%.
And I started just getting super frustrated, just even being a healthcare provider in the insurance system. And yeah, y'all have seen like some of the anger that's out there. I mean, I'm not saying go and hurt people. Like there's people out there that are attacking people that work for insurance companies. Don't do that. They're not the bad guys. They're just doing their job. It really comes down to the doctor saying, no, I'm not taking insurance anymore. I'm going to do something really different. And I started seeing healthcare providers that weren't part of my insurance that were willing. It's all legal,
Hmm.
we're not going to be part of insurance, so that way we can think outside the box with our healthcare. And I started spending cash on consultations, and I would fly to different states to get help. And I'm not going to say exactly who I saw and where, but my healthcare providers in Hawaii were not doing me justice. They were doing
Yeah.
a terrible job, in my opinion. And I let them know. And then I came with stacks of medical literature and evals from other providers, and I dumped it. And I said, hey, we got to have a conversation. And I managed to get the help I needed eventually from my own doctors. I had to get a few new ones. But yeah, I went on a little bit of a rabbit hole here. But regardless, um, what was your question again? Sorry.
No, no,
Ask the main question again. I knew
it's
this was going to
totally
happen.
fine.
So
It's totally fine. Well, and it's interesting because I'm 41 and I'm going through a lot of perimenopause symptoms, but there's still
yeah.
not a test to like confirm it necessarily.
Yes, that
And it's so I
that
just have
that
to
that
talk to my doctor. And fortunately, I have a fantastic doctor, and she's like,
that's great.
"Let's just start you on some estrogen and see how it
Oh, you
goes."
so lucky.
And
You
I
so
know
lucky.
I'm
Okay,
like,
yeah.
thank God, because I don't like waking up in the
You don't
middle
know.
of the night.
Oh,
Yeah, it's
so lucky.
yes. And I feel like every time I have lunch with one of my very best friends, she and I wind up talking about menopause and perimenopause. It's all we talk
We
about
all are
now.
talking about this now,
Yes.
but nobody did in my generation. Like I say,
Yeah.
I'm only like a decade older than you, but nobody did. And so I was the first one to get out there and start talking about it on YouTube. And like it's
Yeah.
in my YouTube channel. Like I went on this hormone, I went on that hormone. You need to go do it. So,
Yeah.
or at least if you don't want to, that's fine. But at least know it's there. And the thing is that I thought hormones was just about being hot. No, 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 no. Your whole brain is less cloudy, sharper. Like you will make better decisions. And the problem is, all these healthcare providers, they would literally, as my fix was not hormones, it was, let's just give you an antidepressant or an
Yes.
anti-anxiety medication. And then they would talk me into it. And then it was just so many doctors telling me, yes, this is your fix. And for years, like tried it. And I was like, I hate this. And it really clouded my brain. And I don't think I was making the best judgment. And then once I got myself, oh, this goes into Eastern medicine. The Eastern medicine, once I started testing, getting all checked out in that and talking to more people, they were like, dude, you're just neurodivergent. That's all you are. And I was like, what's that? And then once I figured it out, I got off all the hormones. I'm totally fine. Just have to think clearer.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that there's a lot that has come of people like you paving the way, talking about things
Mhm.
openly, publicly. I know there's a lot of folks who don't feel like they want to share their story. That's totally fine. It's a very personal decision. But I think that there's a lot that has come of people getting on social media and saying like, what the fuck is this shit that I'm going through right now? And
Oh, good. I
why
want to
is
use some bad words too.
no, go
Yay.
for it. And like why
No,
is
great.
every one of my friends is going through the same thing, so I know it's not just me. What is going on? I think that there's a lot that has been done in the past decade where it's just like, okay, well, if we're all talking about it, maybe they'll do some studies on women who which surprisingly
You
a
know,
lot of their
I've
studies are
even
just
heard this.
not
If
on
this was a
women.
man thing, this would have, yeah, I know, exactly. And then it actually merges into all the studies that are women neurodivergence. There is zero
Yeah.
studies almost on late diagnosed women autistics. We were completely, or ADHD or ADHD or whatever, we were totally passed over, So if you, and once you combine, neurodivergence and perimenopause, you're a mess. You are a
Yeah.
mess until you clear it up. And when we talk about relationships, it's important because a lot of people are going to think you're a bad person. They're not going to like
Right.
you. Maybe you're too spicy, you're too this, you're too that. My issue is that a lot of friends and family, they just decided they didn't like me anymore. They just poofed out of my life. And I was like, I'm going through a health thing where I'm not getting help. You know, I'm sorry. I'm trying to get the help I can. Once I clarified it and I told everyone what was going on, a lot of people had left, and I was like, okay, that's your choice. But
Yeah.
I'm a nice person, so.
So, whenever you were going through all of that, was there a specific moment that you were like, okay, well, that's actually because that was an unhealthy relationship and I'm okay with letting that go? Or did you mourn the loss of some of those
Oh.
relationships? Or how did that go for you? How did you come to that realization?
So what I didn't want to do was the whole millennial, what do they call it, ghosting thing. Like
Yeah.
I know that there's a big millennial ghosting thing, and listen, I get that. Like without trying to out anyone in my family, and to be honest, me even going on podcasts, I started going on podcasts 6 years, 7 years ago, but it was all dental facing podcasts. Then I started making more YouTube content, and if any of your listeners want to learn about teeth, I have like 3,000 videos about moving teeth. I mean, it's pretty obnoxious. It's definitely a special interest. And believe it or not, my channel actually makes some money. It's pretty funny. Who knew that you could talk about teeth and make money?
That's
It's not a
awesome.
lot. It buys like my coffee and my lunch, but
That's
that's about
fine.
it. I'll take the check.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, once I started going through this and realizing like how many people are actually suffering, not only suffering, there's the perimenopause suffering and the neurodivergent suffering, but let alone those of us who are suffering from both, I started talking to so many more people, and people were really interested not in my teeth moving content, but me, just about what I was talking about. And they're like, you need to go on this podcast. I was like, all right, I'll try something else. And then it just kind of spun off. But there are a lot of people in my family and a lot of friends who are pissed I'm on podcasts that aren't dental facing. And I'm like, why? I'm
Wow.
not talking about you. I'm talking about me, my lived experience, what I've been through. A story may or may not come up, but I'm not mentioning your name. If you know that was you, I'm sorry. But I've had quite a few people that said, if you go on any more podcasts, I'm not going to be part of your life. And I said, okay, sayonara, bye. So right now, I'm doing a little experiment. So there has been a lot of people in my life who have been unsatisfied with maybe how I am or what I do or what I'm doing or what I'm doing for a living, which is orthodontics, but it's just virtual orthodontics. It's not in an office. I don't know why it really matters. If you can make the same amount of money,
Yeah.
who cares? And work half the time and be more flexible for your kids to raise them. Who cares what you do? Like, it doesn't matter. You're not doing anything illegal, immoral. You're still helping people. Whether you're helping people online or you're helping people in an office, why does it matter, right? But I just said, you know what? I'm going to do a little experiment. People want to, I used to chase people when they left out of my life, when they were annoyed with me, and I would
Yeah.
chase them, like until they became my friend again. And I said, I ain't doing that anymore. There's nothing wrong with what I'm doing, and there's nothing wrong with me. So if y'all want to exit out of my life, feel free. Peace out. I don't really care. I won't bother you. And I just told them, come back whenever you're ready, but I'm not going to stop doing my podcast. And to be honest, a lot of people go from podcasts to books and podcasts to other stuff, and I've had some offers. So people
Hmm.
think my life is interesting. And I'm going to leave off names and obvious situations in these podcasts, but later I might not,
Yeah.
just how it is.
Yeah, I mean, there's lots of people. I share my own story, and there's lots of people who get a little bit butthurt about that. And I'm like,
Mhm.
that says
Oh,
more
that's nice.
about
Yeah, I
you.
love that.
That says more about
Yeah.
you than it does about me. And
Hmm.
if that's how you feel, that's okay. But if you're seeing yourself in something where I'm not identifying who I'm talking about,
Exactly. That's on you, girl. Yeah.
yep,
Or as
100%.
Mel Robbins said, I love Mel Robbins, let them.
Yeah, yep, 100%. Hey, your mama says me plus neurodivergence plus high stress job 2 months later after the last day of school, and my nervous system still won't turn off. Oh, yeah, nope.
I get that.
Yep. Yep, there's lots of why am I still stressed about this months later? It's like, okay, well, because your body's not done with it, I guess.
Well, and I think it's kind of sucks because for at least a couple generations, they said go have a glass of red wine every night, and that's what we did. And then all of a sudden, the new research that came out said you'll die if you do this, and you'll get this and that disease. And now, and they're kind of not wrong. I actually read the white papers; it was
Yeah.
actually correct. So now I'm like boo on my red glass of red wine. But honestly, I lost a ton of weight when I stopped drinking the one glass of red wine a night. So it's
Yep.
actually probably been good. So
The thing that I read recently about the red wine and nervous system specifically
mhm.
was that the folks who benefit from that glass of red wine are not doing it alone. They're doing it as a social thing. And so they're having
See,
a
that's
glass
what
of
I
red
was
wine
thinking.
and they're having it socially with a friend. And that's what's giving it's actually the
Mhm.
social. So you can do that without having the wine, of course. But it's like you're connecting
Yeah.
over wine because you're connecting with a person. And so that makes it makes
See,
a
that's
big
exactly
difference.
it, because I spent a lot of time in Europe growing up. I have a family that's from Europe. I guess I'm third, my third I'm fourth generation. But I mean, we had enough cousins and people still in Europe, and I also learned German as I don't know why I learned it. I just learned it, but as a language. But they would all alcohol was a big part of the culture, but
Yeah.
they wouldn't get drunk. It would always be wine and always be social. And then I looked into those families, and I'm like, well, they're not having more incidences of this, that, and the other. Why is it only happening to the Americans? But you know. It is what
Because
it is.
we're all separate from each other. We're all
That's what it is.
we're
They're
all
more in
spread out.
communities.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
more in the okay,
Mhm.
the whole family's gonna get together for dinner every night or whatever. And it's like
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
we've
They go to the beer
lost
hall and
that.
they sit with their
Yeah,
friends and yeah.
yeah,
And
yeah,
they walk there, they don't take the Uber or anything.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
when you're realizing all these relationships are I don't want to say falling apart because it doesn't seem like the right term for it, but whenever you're realizing that these
Well,
specific
tacos.
relationships, yeah, are kind of
Changing.
just changing, yeah, evolving in a
Mhm.
way that makes you separate. Were there any specific
Yeah.
habits that you felt like you had that you identified you were like, I need to unlearn this? And then what did you replace those habits with, if so?
Yeah, I mean, to me, for a while, I felt like I was the black sheep. Black sheep this side of the family, black sheep that side of the family, and black sheep in the new family. Like black sheep always. I feel like I've been the black sheep honestly for 51 years. I'm always the one everyone blames for everything.
Mm,
And for a while, I didn't say no. And then now it's like, well, wait, like, but am I? But am I really the black sheep? Have I really done something wrong here? I think ultimately just now learning to push back that maybe if people are disappointed with you, maybe you're around the wrong people, and maybe there's something deeper. So that made me go into the Eastern medicine. It's just so weird, like just feeling so disconnected from people, going into Eastern medicine, and it actually took me to Portland, which is the whole interesting part. Like a lot of the Eastern medicine I did in the city of Portland because it's legal there. So
ah,
a lot of stuff there's more stuff legal in Portland than in other states, in terms of with a doctor, what you can do in a doctor's office. And I won't go too much in detail exactly what I did, but y'all can look it up. It's not that hard. There's a lot of stuff you can do in Portland that is legal with a doctor, where you'll be in their office and you'll be in a very safe setting. But when I was doing that, I started meeting more and more people. And then they were like, welcome to the neurodivergent community. I was like, what the heck is that? I don't even know what this means. And they're like, aren't you autistic? And I'm like, what are you talking about? And only autistics I knew were like plain trained math autistics in my school growing up. And it took me a long time to figure out why people kept saying that to me. And then I just
mm,
said, oh, shoot, they already saw something that I knew. And then I just realized I have the wrong friends and family, or I have friends and family who are undiagnosed. Hmm. And maybe not as healthy as they could be. And I'm not going to place who is who, but birds of a feather flock together. So I just healed myself, and I think you can be neurodivergent and super healthy, and you can also be spiritual, religious, Christian. You can be whatever you want, Jewish. I don't care. You can be everything. You don't have to be, you know, non-denominational to be on the neurodivergent spectrum.
yeah, yeah. No, I feel like there's a lot of the time other people can recognize it in you. But what I appreciate right now,
Hmm.
there's a couple of videos that I've seen recently on like TikTok and Instagram where they're
Hmm.
going, "Oh, you have no family history. What about your grandmother who had only blue plates?" Like, What do you think
We did
that
that with my
was?
family too.
Yeah.
We did
Like
that with my dad. My dad had no idea why we were asking him these questions. It was me and like my son, and we just started like messing with him. What did grandpa do? What did great grandpa
yeah.
what did he collect? Oh,
Yep.
what? We couldn't touch this. And then yeah, with one of my siblings, we started going through like various lines, and then we started figuring out who was who, and then it was hilarious. And
Yes.
then honestly, the intergenerational trauma kind of dropped after that. Like
Mm,
I was not upset at my family anymore because I was like, and I actually told them all, I was like, look, I'm just outing everybody. Like if you don't like it, too bad. Not there's nothing wrong with me. There's nothing wrong with you. And to be honest, the vast majority of CEOs and successful people are on the neurodivergent spectrum. It's just
yeah.
how it is. I just feel like we're very spiky. If you're very supported, you probably will be very successful. If you're not, I mean, there's a much higher rate of unaliving. I mean, and
Yeah.
that's the only reason why I'm out here being loud. And oh, I remember the story how I found out. If anybody says, if we want to link episodes, do you ever watch Survivor?
Yeah.
Okay, Survivor season 48. Eva, the hockey player, she had a full. I don't remember what episode it was, but it was with Joe. Everyone who watched that will know because she had a full like melt the heck down. And I looked at that melt the heck down. I was like, she's tired, she's exhausted. Oh my gosh, that's exactly what I've done many times to many people. And then I'm embarrassed and then I just don't talk about it. Now, if it happens again, I'm just going to mention what it is. So 2 times after that, when it happened, just told people, this is what happened, just letting you know. And my life became so much better once I started telling friends and family. I mean, some people exited by sayonara, I don't care.
Yeah.
But everyone else was like, been so gentle and so nice and so understanding. My life is actually so much better now that I've been out and proud about it.
I love that. I love that. And
Mhm.
I know that that's a reality show, right? So, but seeing that
Yeah.
representation in media, I think is
Mhm.
really important also. Just being able to go, okay, well, this is where I feel like I've seen something that resonates with me.
Mhm.
It's less, I feel like well, I won't say it's less impactful, but to me, sometimes it's more impactful to see it portrayed in media where it's like that was an intentional thing that they did on purpose versus a reality TV show. Sometimes that feels a little exploitative to me, but the
No, she
representation
she
itself is
legit
great.
was like so embarrassed. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Exactly.
Oh, your mama says I need to experiment with shrooms and ayahuasca. We have done whole podcasts on psychedelics and ayahuasca and MDMA, and we've done all kinds of go look for those for sure because we've talked about them in
Please,
relation to
please, please don't
trauma, like
experiment.
all
Go
kinds of
to an
stuff.
MD.
Yes.
Yeah, get the trauma sorted out because they will
Yep.
sit there in the session and they will sort, and you'll have pre-sessions ahead of time where you'll go through all the trauma and
Yes.
then they will literally line item through your trauma. And you're not going to remember what you did, but you're going to come out feeling so healed. And like this was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Like still fine. I mean, I'm not going to say I still don't. The only reason I still have issues is because some people are still in my life that are causing the issues. So,
Right.
and sometimes you can't exit people out that fast, or maybe they don't feel like healing, or they don't believe in neurodivergence and they're not willing to resonate with the new version of yourself. They only like the old version of yourself, which was probably much more buttoned up and
Hmm.
didn't swear and say bad words and always had their hair perfect and everything that and cooked a perfect meal. But maybe that's not you anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely something that every time we've talked about those kinds of things, it's always the make sure you're going to a place where you're going to be safe and you're going to do it the right way because there's plenty of ways you can do it
Mhm.
that aren't as healthy.
Yeah.
Hopefully they have some of that in Portland, but we've talked about Canada, Mexico, other places where
Oh
you
yeah.
can go and get these things very supervised. So if you're going to experiment,
Yeah.
just experiment in a way that is healthy and safe.
Legally.
Yes,
Yes.
yes,
Legally
yes, for
healthy and
sure.
stuff. Yes.
For sure. But yeah, I mean, there's lots of people who are like, oh, what do you mean you're autistic? Oh, what do you mean you have ADHD? Oh, what do you mean whatever? And they don't want to get to know that because they don't want to reframe how you're looking, and they don't want you to drop your mask in some cases. They're like, I don't want you to change how you are around me necessarily. So, yeah, but that's their problem. Again, that's on them.
Let them.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yep. So if someone is kind of in that realm of suspecting, oh, this relationship in my life actually isn't very healthy, what's the first honest question you would have them ask themselves?
Ooh, I mean, I've never, well, I've taken one psychology class in my life, and it was in high school, and I hated it. Well, I liked it. It was interesting, but I hated it because everyone that took it was kind of weird. At least I thought. And I didn't realize, I'm going to answer your question, but I'm going to kind of get there. I really didn't realize how much I masked really until the last couple years. And my special interest in masking, you're going to love this one, was being a sorority girl. And I finally figured that out.
Mm,
Like, that was my goal. Like, being a kid was to be beautiful, pretty, popular, and cool. I still wanted to be smart, but I never wanted to be too smart because then guys wouldn't like me. So I just really worked on this, and being as bubbly and cute as possible. Inside, I'm doing math equations and complex stuff in my head, but I pushed it down, and tried. I even in school, I think I was more focused on what I looked like and less focused on my studies, which is kind of sad. So, but yeah, I mean, if you're feeling like maybe you're having less than ideal relationships. I mean, me finding out I was neurodivergent was the main thing. Like, I tried so many times to fix relationships before with traditional psychotherapy and stuff, but that is not built, and traditional medicine is not built for neurodivergence. You will actually be worse off. And there are very few doctors who know how to diagnose. Even in my state, there's only like a couple options, and it wasn't even great. Like, it was pretty janky. I did a lot of pre stuff ahead of time. I wanted the formal diagnosis on a piece of paper with the seal from my state just in case I needed something later. Is
yeah.
probably, and every doctor told me that's so not necessary. We already can tell you are. But I